Thousands of years ago, a little old woman lived in a cave at the base of Uluru. And this little old woman was called the woolly wagtail woman. The woolly wagtail is called Jintir Pa by the local Aboriginal people in this area. Legend has it that this little old woman used to listen or eavesdrop on the conversations of men at their mala ceremonies in the area. And even today, if you find a group of men talking and a woolly wagtail walks up beside them, they will keep dead quiet, in case this woolly wagtail woman is eavesdropping on their conversation. As well as common birds like the Jintir Pa, this week's quest for our golden bird, the western bowerbird, takes us to the outback of the Northern Territory, the reddest outback town in the red centre. But we've come at a time of the year which is entirely atypical of this stark, almost desert-like landscape. Standing here today, one wouldn't think that this is called the red centre because there's an outburst of beautiful greenery around here thanks to incredibly unseasonal rains. In fact, in the last 2 months, there's been more rain in Alice Springs than in the last 2 years. And what that means is that in this acacia woodland behind me here, there is an abundance of species which are normally very difficult to find.
Let's go birding!
The outback town of Alice Springs is set on the banks of the Todd River, and this is really the gateway to the Red Centre. And we headed out with Mark and Shane from Trek Larapinta to go and see what this arid landscape held in store for us. The Red Centre is a not to be missed birding destination on any visit to Australia and holds a whole lot of species which are difficult to find elsewhere in the country.
Let's go birding!
A lot of the more common species that we came across were birds like spinifex pigeon, pied honey-eaters, crimson chats, red-tailed black cockatoos, 2 species of kingfishers including sacred and redback kingfishers, crested bellbird, white-winged trillers, budgerigars, and the cackling grey-crowned babblers.
One of the pleasures of being out here at the moment with the wet weather that we've had is we've had a real influx of some pretty awesome birds, and one of the most iconic that everyone knows is the budgerigar, a really amazing little bird. They look very bright. They don't look like it's a great colour to be out here in the desert, but actually once you get one up in a gum tree, they're almost invisible. It's perfect camouflage, that yellow and green coloration. And everywhere that we go at the moment, everywhere that there's gum trees, we've got budgies there exploring, looking for nest holes, meeting each other, having romance, and starting that process of creating the next generation of budgies. And it's happening here right now. It's a really exciting time.
Some of the prime birding spots in the Red Centre are in places which are called gaps. Now, gaps are places where there's been tectonic shifts in the landscape and the water in the low-lying areas has eroded these gaps through the landscape. So you've got these sort of mountain ranges with these huge gaps in between them, and these gaps hold deep water underneath the ground, and this is where a lot of the vegetation comes, which in turn attracts a lot of the birds. We headed out to 3 of the best known gaps: Simpson's Gap, Emily Gap, and Jessie Gap. On our way to Simpson's Gap to search for birds and mammals, we came across a flock of gorgeous red-tailed black cockatoos. Red-tailed black cockatoos are the closest relatives of the glossy black cockatoos that we filmed on Kangaroo Island in South Australia for another birding adventure show. The Red Centre has an impressive array of bird life, but it is also very well known for its mammals. This is Simpson's Gap in West MacDonald's National Park, and this place has got superb biodiversity, right from amphibians right up to the bigger mammals. And this afternoon we're in quest of 2 mammals in particular, the elusive dingo and the unique black-footed rock wallaby.
And this is one that actually I think anyone is going to really appreciate seeing, is the rock wallabies. They're a species of wallaby which is specialized to live on almost sheer cliffs. The soles of their pads have almost like Velcro. It's very rough pads. They can use these to get a grip on the sandstone and pretty much just jump up like any mountain goat. They're as good as any mountain goat, any chamois, anywhere else in the world. And they live on these cliffs and hide in the caves during the day, and they come out at dusk. And they're very easy to see. Very easy to see here. One of the few places in the country you can have that sort of experience with them.
We were lucky enough to come across a dingo too, which is seldom seen around Alice Springs. This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Northern Territory, Australia's real outback. This afternoon we're on the quest for our golden bird, the western bowerbird. We're situated right now in Chinaman Creek, next to Mount Gillen, just outside Alice Springs, and we're going to be making our way through this acacia woodland to a specific habitat type called mulga woodland. This is where these bowerbirds like to hang out and build their bowers to attract females. Let's see if we can get a look. Let's go, chaps. With these atypical rains comes manna from heaven in the form of grasshoppers. Just swarms of grasshoppers and locusts attracted by these rains, and with this manna from heaven in the form of these delectable insects comes a whole variety of very interesting birds. Mulga woodland is a specific habitat type that is preferred by western bowerbirds in this area. The reason why it is such a suitable site for these bowerbirds to build their bowers is because of this. They've got a nice thick upper story and the understory is very sparse, which allows these bowerbirds to set the stage.
So this bird was, he was using a site further up here for the bower, but that fell from favour, who knows why, and he's obviously scouted around to look for a new site, and that really threw me. I was looking around and really concerned that we weren't going to have a bower here, but I think we're in luck. I see something over here, so.
We're going to try and be as quiet as possible walking through this mulga woodland, see if we can situate ourselves close to this bower. We found the bower right here in this mulga woodland. It's unattended right now, so I think we're going to situate ourselves here, wait, and see if this bird comes back. After about 30 minutes of patient waiting, we heard the scolding approach call of a male western bowerbird. Smoking ponies, look at this show pony, our golden bird. Western bowerbirds are distantly related to birds of paradise. And while birds of paradise use their bodies as ornamental displays for the females, bowerbirds have lost this ability and have rather chosen music and art. Art in the form of these wonderfully constructed bowers, and music in their ability to mimic a whole variety of different songs, from car alarms to cats fighting to other birds. They have an incredible musical repertoire. And if fine art galleries and a worldly music collection fail to impress, the male bowerbird has one further trick up his sleeve. A dance routine that will seriously ruffle the feathers of his competitors. But like any pro dancer, this routine requires attention to detail and much practice. This western bowerbird flew in and it just didn't stand there. I mean, we got the entire display. We got him practicing, dancing his wings, kind of showing us his crest at the back of his head, picking up things and placing them. We got him fixing his bower, tearing it apart, fixing it again, really almost fanatical about his bower, making sure that this is going to be the most incredible stage for the female when she comes in. The western bowerbird prefers the colors white, green and silver, and it was fascinating to watch this bowerbird picking up and displaying these various items in his bower. In areas where western bowerbirds are close to human habitation, you'll even find some pretty familiar items. Children's toys, for instance, lids of cool drinks. There's even a few skulls in here, and also some seashells. Female bowerbirds are notoriously finicky birds, and that is why these male bowerbirds become obsessed with their bowers. So much so that when there's a female close to the bower, the male will come running up to her with a precious object, showing her this absolute treasure and trying to get her to buy into this whole thing. The male will then try and lure her back into the bower and try and do this little dance, almost like a Fred Astaire dance, trying to get her attention. And when the male knows that he's close to sealing the deal, is when the female follows him down the passage bower, almost like leading her to the altar down the wedding aisle.
This Birding from the Edge segment is brought to you by Nikon, manufacturers of the Edge line of optics.
Whilst birding in the Northern Territory, you might be lucky enough to come across one of the goanna species, like this Spencer's goanna. It's one of the only reptiles that has a forked tongue, just like a snake, and these guys will feed on other reptiles, snakes, small rodents, but also ground-dwelling and ground-nesting birds. They'll feed on the eggs of birds, they'll feed on the nestlings, and they'll feed on the birds themselves. You can see these incredibly sharp claws are extremely well suited to burrowing and excavating burrows in which the Spencer's goanna lives in. An absolute beauty, the Spencer's goanna. This is Birding from the Edge.
I'm in the pit with Australia's gnarliest lizard. He's coming at me.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Northern Territory, Australia's real outback. Welcome to Northern Territory, Australia. We're at the top end of Northern Territory in a beautiful part of the countryside. This place, Northern Territory, has got such diversity, from desert in the red centre right up to tropical monsoon forest here in the top end. Northern Territory also has a whole array of wildlife. It's got some of the best barramundi fishing in the world. And on this show, we're going in quest of our golden bird, the rainbow pitter. Let's go birding. If you have a bucket list of places you'd like to see in the world, the top end of Northern Territory has to be on that list. This place has such amazing diversity, from beautiful beaches to monsoon forests, to lotus carpets of flowers, to shimmering waterfalls, and abundant wildlife and bird life. This place has it all, the top end of Northern Territory, Australia. Our adventure to the top end of Northern Territory, Australia began with a flight from Alice Springs in the Red Centre right up to Darwin, where we met with our local guide, Andy Mortimer.
Welcome to the top end of the Northern Territory of Australia. Let's go birding.
We didn't even get a chance to drop our bags and headed straight off to Buffalo Creek, one of the better birding spots close to Darwin, to go and see what species we could find. This area is excellent because it's got these huge coastal tidal mudflats. It's got coastal monsoon forest. It's also got excellent mangrove habitat. It was quite stunning arriving in this destination and seeing 30 or 40 species of birds in half an hour. Some of these birds look significantly different from their conspecifics further south. The rainbow lorikeets of the top end, for example, have a dark orange rather than a green collar. Other parrots that we came across were the ubiquitous galahs, magnificent red-winged parrots, and the typically nervous varied lorikeets. However, due to these flowering gums, these birds were uncharacteristically confiding and we had awesome close-up views. Rainbow bee-eaters, forest and sacred kingfishers were in abundance. As well as the more common species of honeyeaters like brown honeyeater, we also spotted two really range-restricted honeyeaters, the spectacularly beautiful red-headed honeyeater and a pair of rufous-banded honeyeaters at the nest. As well as the common bar-shouldered doves, the Buffalo Creek area also holds some range-restricted dove species, like the giant Teresian imperial pigeons. Shining flycatchers were flitting about in the canopy, and whilst watching these active birds, we spotted a rare resident of the top end, the Pacific baza or crested hawk. Like the similar cuckoo hawks of Africa, these bazas feed predominantly on insects, and we were treated to excellent views of one dissecting a large mantis-like insect. This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Northern Territory, Australia's real outback. Out of the 3 shows we shot in Australia, the quest for the rainbow pitta was undoubtedly the hardest. We came to Australia expecting to find these rainbow pitta fairly easily, and while that was pretty true, we must have seen 20 or 30 different birds. It was a totally different story actually trying to get footage of these birds on the forest floor. We've just spotted an adult and a juvenile really close to the path here. We're sneaking up on them. We've just seen 3 pittas very close to us here. We're sitting next to this quiet brook. One of the best ways to get good looks at these pittas is to sit very quietly and tap in the ground like this. And these pittas are fairly curious, and they'll hear that tapping, they'll think that other birds are foraging in the area, and they'll come in for a closer look. So let's see if this works. Oh yeah, there he is. Oh great, he's coming closer. See him coming on the ground there? Hopping for a closer look. There he comes. Oh man, look at that. Awesome, great views. These birds are very skulky and wary, and it was very tough to get them to sit in one place for any period of time. So we've been looking for this little blighter for 2 days now, just searching through the forest here. We've had very brief glimpses, the birds flying away. We saw a juvenile briefly for a minute, and it's been really, really tough to find this bird. Andy says it's a lot easier in the dry season. We're here at the end of the wet season right now, and these birds are very quiet and they're very tough. But we finally, today, close to Fog Dam, have got just absolutely killer views of our golden bird, the rainbow pitta. Thanks very much, Andy, that was awesome. We just had cracker views of this rainbow pitta sitting in the tree, and you can see exactly why it's called rainbow pitta. I mean, every color in the rainbow. We had yellow on it, green, bright blue, nice red in the rump. Absolutely spectacularly colored bird, but very cryptic and difficult to find. Our golden bird, the rainbow pitta.
It was quite good fun. I've never had to film the rainbow pitta, I've only had to show people the rainbow pitta. I think in the last 2 days we've probably seen 30 to 50 rainbow pitta. I've certainly learned he's a hard bird to film. As you've seen, he's quite common here, and I've certainly learnt a little bit about him myself, having spent this much concentrated, focused time with that bird, bringing my knowledge up on the bird. I'll certainly know where to find the more human-friendly ones the next time I've got birders. We've certainly figured that out on this trip.
The top end of Northern Territory truly was top-notch. The laid-back and flexible attitude of the people, the stunning scenery, and the broad spectrum of bird life made a truly unforgettable trip to Australia. The folks at Northern Territory Tourism did a sterling job. we were taken care of like kings, from the excellent food to the logistics of touring around the Northern Territory to finding us these sought-after species. Everything was taken care of in a way that couldn't have been better.
If you want to visit Northern Territory, Australia and take advantage of an exclusive offer for Birding Adventures viewers, log on to territorydiscoveries.com/birding adventures. That's territorydiscoveries.com/birding adventures.
It's sitting on a station floor, heading back to a place you've never been